We are live. Good morning, everyone. Well, depending on if you're here with me right now, live, and probably, sorry, I have like my other computer over here also so I can monitor comments as they come in. But if you are in the States, it's morning time. If you're anywhere around the world, then it might not be morning time where you are. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this Sunday morning. It's a beautiful day here in South Florida. I wish I could show you the view. It's not rainy for once. You know, it is summertime, but it's a beautiful morning. So I'm excited to chat with you and talk it up about clarity and growth and possibility and transitioning and all of that good stuff. Good morning, Laquel. Did I say that right? As you are all coming in, let me know in the comments. Some will be looking over here so that I can see your comments coming in. But let me know where you're tuning in from. Yeah, so let's start with that. So as you're coming in, let me know, say something to me in the comment section. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and we will get this clarity party, growth party, shifting party started. Yes, yes, yay! I said it correct. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So where are you from, Laquel? I see more and more people are coming in. Good morning, good morning. Hello. So let me know, where are you guys tuning in? What are you up to? We're gonna get started. I'm just gonna give everyone a couple of minutes. Atlanta, Georgia's in the house. Awesome. Let's see how I can do this better so that I'm constantly looking over here. Okay. Florida. I'm in Florida. We're in Florida. Florida, I'm in South Florida. The UK is in the house. Good morning. Atlanta, we got 2 Atlantas. Good morning, good morning. Awesome. Long Beach, California. Oh, it's early. Not that early. It's 8 a.m., right? I'm originally from California. I'm from Los Angeles, so whoop, whoop. Welcome, Cali. Awesome. So we are working the spectrum here from California to Atlanta all the way to London so far this morning. So that is great, great, great. Thanks for being here. Hey, Rita. Hey, oh, Tampa. I was just thinking about going up that way today. My best friend lives in St. Petersburg. So we were thinking about making a drive up. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here with me, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I want to respect your time. The time that people are here with me live and getting to engage with you all is so much fun. So whether you are here because you are a part of my Shift Society family, you are on my email list, and you know get my daily shifts or you get my weekly newsletters, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you've been a subscriber, I'm not hearing anything. Can everyone else hear me? You should be able to hear me. It looks like my microphone is working. So you might want to refresh the page. Let me see if I can write something. Let Rita know if you can hear me to refresh her page. That might help. I don't know if this shows up. Maybe. I'm not sure. So let her know. Just can refresh the page. But if you are here from YouTube and you've been a subscriber with me for some time, welcome. My YouTube journey has been a long one. I guess I've been on YouTube for, I don't know, going on 5 years now, which is absolutely crazy. But when I first started on YouTube almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing in the sense of what it was that I was looking to really create and the kind of community that I wanted to create here on YouTube. And it's changed a lot as my evolution and as I've transitioned into various versions of myself we're going to talk about a little bit today. So thank you all for joining me. And let's get into it. So if you are brand new to me, like this is your first time ever, I'm assuming this is not your first time ever seeing me, but if your first time like being, you know, in my presence, especially doing like something live, a live stream, let me know in the comments because I would love to just see who's brand spanking new to me. If you've been here with me for some time, welcome back. But just in case, I want to introduce myself. I am Tiffany Lanier. I am a speaker and facilitator, clarity coach for really leaders who are looking to shift into higher versions of who they are and the work that they do. My overarching overarching mission for the work that I put out into the world. So all the videos that I create, whether it's, you know, videos for business purposes, I can hear you fine. Awesome. Thank you. Whether it's for business purposes, for life purposes, for really understanding who you are, that's what I work through. So when it comes to clarity and shifting, that's been a brand that I've evolved into over the years. So it's been really exciting to now do work a little bit differently than I have in the past, but it's really about living purposefully and leading consciously, because I know the importance of us all really becoming better versions of ourselves and really just accepting who we are to some degree. We'll talk about that too, so that we can go out here into the world and do what we want and do what is necessary. And it's a little bit of both, what we want to do and what is actually necessary to raise the vibration, you know, of those around us and the planet overall. And we can do that as we continue to kind of crack these layers open and explore the way that we operate and the way that we work. So that's me in a nutshell. Hi, Shanita. Thanks for being here, first timer. Well, welcome. But I want to talk to you today about, and I have my notes so that I don't totally go off track. This morning, we're going to be talking about clarity, growth, and transitioning. And I'm going to keep it probably in that I guess in that order so that I don't go off too crazy. But when it comes to clarity, so as someone who's been doing clarity work for, I guess, with others for about 3 years, but I think I've always been that clarity person that people come to when, you know, and you probably like that too. When people come to you and they need advice, they need to be grounded, they need something in order to continue to move forward in whatever it is that they're doing. I've always been that person to my friends and to my family, and eventually it became my work. But I want to talk to you about clarity and the evolution of clarity, both for me, how I work, me personally, and how it looks for you if you're feeling a little stuck in this time or this season in your life right now. If you're wondering why things aren't going as fast as you want them, or you're not hitting the levels of success that you want, usually it's because you're not clear on something or you're not allowing. And we're going to talk about that too. So let's talk about clarity, and I'll give you some perspective of what is clarity first and foremost. Clarity is really being in alignment with. So being in alignment with who you are, when I like to say to the core of who you are. So really having an understanding of what you want, what you need, what drives you, what makes you tick, what's important. And those things seem very simple, right? We would think that we know that. We would think that we have that down, but it's always so interesting to me whenever, whether I work with people like in a one-on-one capacity or do workshops, or even people that I just see, you know, random having a conversation like at brunch. So welcome to my brunch. And I go, what is it that you want? Like, what do you actually want? And most people can't tell me what they want. 9 times out of 10, most people can't tell me what they want. So if I were to look at you in the face right now and I say, what is it? What do you want? You should know. Like, you should actually know. I want this XYZ because of this, because I'm trying to create this, because I want to be able to do this. But most of the time we get so stuck in living other people's dreams, living other people's lives, living the past lives that we have like within our lifetime, holding on to that we lose focus of who we actually are and what drives us and what makes us us. And I can go on that into a whole nother spectrum when it comes to identity and all of that, and probably another live stream. But we lose focus of what those simple truths are for ourselves. And so clarity is understanding that basic foundation of who we are and how we actually want to operate. And so how I've gotten to this point of doing clarity work is a little bit of my own clarity process that I'll talk more about. That's really just happened for me like in the last 2 years. But when I first quit my job back in 2012, I was a social media manager and consultant. So I actually worked with small business owners, helping them get their social media life together and expand their brands and create online presence. So that was the beginning of my entrepreneurial career. And in about 2 years, I guess in the 2 years that I worked with people in that capacity, I realized how much work I also needed to do with them. So I didn't consider myself a coach. I didn't even know what that was, to be honest. Like, I didn't know what a coach was and what that whole industry was about. I was a consultant and working specifically in that realm of business building, social media, marketing, and all that jazz. But intuitively, I think I knew what I needed to do with small business owners. So they would come to me wanting something in particular, you know, the mechanics of something, or for me to build out a campaign. And I would find that the reason we couldn't really implement, especially if they were solopreneurs or even if they had a small team, the reason we couldn't implement a lot of the stuff that I was coming up with is because they didn't have the capacity personally to fulfill it. And I found myself having to do not only business coaching, but also like personal development work with these individuals. And it dawned on me that there was like some missing link between what I was, you know, what I was selling to people in the sense of marketing and marketing, social media, consulting. And that's what they thought they needed, which many of you, if you're an entrepreneur, we all need, and we do, like we all need marketing and that kind of understanding. But usually we think that's the only thing that we need. And we forget like that we're also a part of the process. And so what I was finding with these particular individuals is that I was also having to do this other work that they weren't paying me for in order to get them to the place for me to actually do what they hired me for. And so in 2014, I decided to start working with people and I move my hands a lot. So I'm like noticing that on this screen that my hands are just like flailing. So excuse me. But in 2014, I started to actually work with people in that capacity by doing more coaching work along with still the marketing aspect. And so it wasn't until I started going through my own shifts in transition that I realized the kind of clarity work that I wanted to do with others and what it really meant to be clear. And so I was still always looking at things from the lens of, you know, they want business or marketing clarity. So let me just zoom in, focus in on that. And that's something that I'm really strong at, which people hire me for, and that's great. But I started to then wonder, why aren't people having the results that they're looking for? In the sense of, why aren't people able to really go full throttle, no matter what the strategies are? And if you think about this, whether you're a business owner or not, you can really, this is applicable to your own life, in the sense of when you get advice from friends or family or someone that you hire and you're not actually getting the result that you think you're hiring someone for, then you have to start thinking, well, one aspect is, did they give me what I actually needed, or am I doing the work? And so when I started to dig a little bit deeper in the sense of why people aren't getting the results that they want, in the sense of why aren't they doing the work, then I started to peel back the layers of understanding the process of clarity. And so it wasn't until though that I had to go through my own process of clarity that it really made sense. So if you watch my last video, the Healthy Morning Habits video, I talked a little bit about this. In 2015 was a really big year of transition for me. And I'm very fortunate for my years of transition, which we all are very fortunate, because so many lessons come out of transitioning. And that's when I was still really focused on primarily business and marketing for my clients only. And I was doing really well, but yet I was feeling unaligned. In the sense that something else was calling me and I didn't really know what that was. And I hit this really low place in around the fall time of 2015. And that's when I actually started doing the morning shift. So if you've been with me for some time now, since 2015, when I was on Periscope and I was doing daily morning shifts broadcasts, that was a huge awakening for me. That kind of just literally came through me. It wasn't something that I had planned to do or was trying to figure out what that was. You know, it just started taking a life of its own. And that was a part of my own awakening, my own clarity process, because I was wondering what was happening to me. Why, when on paper, everything was going well, despite that I had just had a baby, moved across country, was having some personal issues with friends and conflict there, and just wasn't feeling really fulfilled personally, and I wasn't feeling fulfilled in the work that I was doing. And maybe you've been there before, whether in business or in your career, you're just like, this isn't me. I know there's something else out there for me. I know that there's greater work for me to do. I know that I have the capacity to have better relationships with friends and family. I know that I'm looking, there's something just missing, right? And so when I started to analyze, because that's what I do, I analyze everything. When I started to psychoanalyze myself, I really had to go inward and start finding, well, what was happening to me? And it wasn't until this year that I realized I was going through this whole process to kind of swing back around to what I was saying about my clients, a piece that I was missing. So I was giving everyone the consulting piece of what they needed and doing some like coaching with them, but I didn't understand the process of becoming clear and what that actually looked like. And I didn't have a framework for it, because a lot of people, whether they're business coaches, life coaches, any kind of coach, relationship coaches, they all tell you usually you need some form of clarity, right? It's all about the clarity. And you say, okay, I just need clarity. But then what does that even mean? What will that do for you? And if you don't know that clarity, so this is the gem right here. I had to take you through all of that to give you this piece. But if you don't know that clarity is actually a process versus a simplified destination, then you might miss it. So when we're usually asking, so when people come to me, particularly to get clear, now, if it's something very specific, I might be able to fine tune it and be like, this is what you needed, this is what you want. Wow, we have clarity, 90 minutes done, and you can like move into this. But if it's deeper than that, then you have to understand that being clear or becoming clear is actually a process. And within that process of clarity, there's going to be some times that you are just really unsure. Even if I were to be the one to tell you this is what's happening, this is what you want, this is what, you know, actually go through all those questions and things that I told you in the beginning of understanding who you are, the core of yourself, the values, your passions, your desires, all of that. And then we outline that, but then you're wondering, well, why can't I step into this place? Like, why isn't it easy to now just have the level of success that I desire, or to gain the better relationship that I want? Because then you actually have to do the work, which a lot of people don't want to do, or they want to just bypass the work that is necessary and move right into, you know, the positive thinking, I'm all great and everything is just fine and dandy, which on some days it will be if you're consciously present. But there are going to be times that you're going to have to go through these lulls and these valleys and these peaks, and you're up and you're down. And it's about honoring all of it. And that was something that was really hard for me over the last 2 years, as I was going through the process myself of being like, well, I think I know what I want now, so let me just go out and just be totally present with it and just do it. And I wanted the clarity, and I wanted it now. And I realized how people came to me. They wanted the clarity and they wanted it now. And so it's almost as if I had to go through that process myself, which is, I think many of us do, in order to come back and share with you what it actually looks like. And it took me a lot longer than I wanted to start really implementing the kind of work that I wanted to do with people. So it was easy for me to first identify it, but it was harder for me to embody it. Does that make sense? So it was easy to me to say, okay, this is what I want. This is who I want to become. So this is what I should be up to. But it was harder for me to completely embody it and start actually producing with that same level of understanding and intensity. So clarity comes from understanding first. Well, clarity comes from acknowledgement, and then it comes from understanding, processing, dealing with, knowing that there's going to be times that you're going to be fearful, doubtful, questioning, but it's holding space and allowing for those questions. And so when you're working, and so the reason I'm sharing all of this with you, because if you've been going through a season in your life and you're just wondering, why is it not clicking? Why is it hard for me to just do the thing that I know I need to do? Which many of us intuitively know. Like, we know what we should be up to. We know what we need to be doing, but the harder part comes from the actual doing, right? But this is where the growth happens. So if I can move in, let me just make sure I covered everything that I wanted to say about clarity. I guess I wanted to talk about the illusion of desire. But when it comes to your growth, that is understanding that there's a process for this time and space. So the more you give yourself time to process what's coming up for you, the better off you'll be in the long term. But usually we're in resistance. If you've never read The Art of War, or The War of Art, I think it's The Art of War, which I read, or we read it in my Shift Society Facebook group about 2 months ago. But in The Art of War, he talks a lot about resistance. And resistance is something that we're all constantly living in because we're fighting because of the perception of who we think we are versus who we really are and what we want. And that's another thing for another time. But with that, if you take the time to actually experience these ups and downs of what you're going through, take this season as positive lessons learned in order to get to the next phase of your season, that's where growth really happens. And so I now look at everything from a growth lens. And I have been for the last couple of years, and I want to share with you some of that journey in the phase. But what makes it difficult for us to really be vulnerable and for us to really get clear is the illusion of desires. So one of the things that I will always tell you is like, well, what do you really want, right? So what do you want? What are some of the true desires that you have for your life, for your health, for your relationships, for your business, for your career? What are some of those things that really drive you? But you may automatically start sharing the illusion of what you think is a desire. So based on what, family or friends told you should be up to, based on the perception of what you think is success or looks good. And in the realm of social media, which I love social media. I love the fact that there are people here from all over the world right now, and I get to interact with you and share some nuggets of wisdom and insight. But at the same time, there is this disconnect that we have. So we look to others for inspiration and encouragement. It's beautiful to see what is possible because you see other people's lives that might not reflect what you have right now, but what you want. And you're like, okay, I saw their journey. I saw their growth. It's totally possible for me to be like them or have a lifestyle like them or have the relationship like them or whatever might come to mind. But it's a double-edged sword, right? Because on the flip, you also become more jealous. You have that comparison syndrome, like, why haven't I grown like them? Like, I've watched them for the last year and I've been doing things too. How come my journey hasn't expedited? How come I don't have the money that they have, the relationships that they have to travel the world like they get to travel? We see the beautiful side of people because most of the time we're all sharing the beautiful side of our lives, right? Experiences that we have, which is awesome. But with that comes comparing, with that comes a little bit of envy, a little bit of jealousy of wanting what is not yours versus focusing on what you do want and working to make that your reality. So when you go through the process of clarity that I'll be talking about a lot this summer, I actually have a course on clarity coming out probably later in August because what I haven't seen on the market is people really talking about the transition of clarity versus actual clarity. But with that, it's about taking yourself back into consideration, like really doing the work that will allow for you to grow in a way that has nothing to do with other people and having that space for yourself to really step into that, to that place of where you want to be and how you want to live your life. So I think that's what I wanted to say about clarity. Let's dive into growth. So I want to share with you a little bit of my personal growth journey because there was a time in my life that I wasn't this conscious or expressing myself to this capacity of being conscious of really in monitoring where I am emotionally, mentally, physically, professionally to this extent. And so I guess I always say I've been on my personal growth journey for about 5 years, which marks me at 2012, the year I became an entrepreneur, the year I also had one of my last crazy breakups, and I learned so much from that experience. And that's when I started looking or deciding to look at life a little bit differently. But when I was preparing to come on here with you this morning, I began to realize that my journey actually started. I mean, we've always been journeying. We just may not have been conscious enough to know what the journey was teaching us. Started for me in 2010 when I graduated from college. And I remember being just really lost because this was a time, if any of you graduated 7 years ago from college, especially in the United States when we were going through a down period, recession-wise, economically. There weren't many jobs. There just wasn't. So from 2008 to probably like 2011, there was just this lull in jobs. And I wasn't prepared coming out of college for not finding anything. I was, you know, I think I graduated magna cum laude. I did really well in school. I had run an organization while I was in school. So I was a high achiever. I've always been a high achiever to some extent. And so I felt like it should be a no-brainer for me to just walk into something. But I realized coming out that that wasn't the case, not only from that perspective of the market, but I was also physically hurt. I deal with a lot of foot and ankle pain. And so I was like broken. I felt like that whole summer, graduating college, and I couldn't walk all summer, which led to depression, and I was drinking a lot, and it was chaos. And it took me a couple of months to realize that I was being very self-destructive in my behavior, and that something needed to change because I couldn't just continue on binge watching, you know, Desperate Housewives and Grey's Anatomy and drinking wine, and that something needed to come out of my life. I was better than that, and I knew that I was better than that. So I remember talking to a mentor of mine, and she's like, you know, something that I think you should do is start sharing how you feel. Like, start sharing this part of your journey, this transition from college into adulthood and what that looks like for you. And I think so it was around that time that I started actually paying attention to my feelings and what was actually happening with me from like an outside lens versus just being totally enthralled in my emotions and letting that take over me. Because I remember writing a blog called Becoming Full. So I was on a quest. So that was the beginning marker point that I was officially saying, like, I'm on a quest for something more. I'm looking for something more because it has to be more than this. There has to be more than me watching Desperate Housewives, binge watching, drinking wine, and with the shades closed and it being dark, and me, you know, polluting myself mentally and emotionally and literally with alcohol because I'm trying to numb my reality of what is, which is I'm broke. I don't have a job. Well, because that's why I'm broke, right? I don't have a job. There's no job in sight. I'm physically hurt. I'm not in a relationship. I didn't have a boyfriend or anything. And I just feel like I have other friends who are moving faster than me and moving on, and I just don't feel worthy, is what was actually happening. I didn't feel worthy, even though I knew my potential, which is a huge conflict. And so I know so many of you, no matter where you are in your journey of life, you know your potential, which is why you're here. If you're here in my tribe and you're hanging out with me, hey, Primera, if you're here in my tribe, I know you know that your potential is limitless. But you're also in this quest of understanding, and a deeper understanding at that, of what is happening, right? And this was that pivotal moment in time. I was like 22, maybe 22, that I started questioning, is there more to life? Is there more than this? And I started to journal it out loud. I do a lot of my evolving out loud, as you can tell. And so I started questioning, like, what is this transition? What am I going through? Fast forward, that was 2010. I ended up getting a job working in social media marketing, hence my career that extended out after that. But then in 2012, I was becoming full from 2010 to 2012, right? I got a job, I got a boyfriend. I thought I was doing something, you know? Like, so I started toning it down. I wasn't so extreme in my self-discovery because I had the job, I had the boyfriend. I thought I was living the life. But then in 2012, my relationship ended. I wasn't fulfilled at my workplace anymore, even though I loved them. I just knew there was something more. Once again, feeling like there has to be something more than this. Experiencing this breakup with my then boyfriend, where I dealt with a lot of like emotional baggage coming from him, and who really tried to break me down in like a mental capacity. And so with that, I had to also uncover what was coming up for me there. Like, why didn't I feel whole? So the 2012 timeframe to 2014, I was becoming what I call becoming whole. Like, knowing that I am whole. And so I want to say that to you right now, that you are whole and you aren't broken. But I had to uncover my wholeness. I had to realize that I was a whole individual and that I didn't need anyone or anything to make me whole. And this particular time was 2012, when I was finally realizing that I can get over this individual. And then I was broke because I was 6 months into my entrepreneurial journey and didn't have any clients. And I was broke, boyfriendless, and it was a good time. This was a good time for me to become depressed. Like that was the perfect setting for depression because all the years before, that was my default. Depression was my default. When things go haywire, you go to your good old friend, let me just be depressed. And depression leads to drinking or doing something abusive to yourself, usually being very down on yourself. But instead, I was tired of that story. So this is 24-year-old Tiffany, tired of that story. I didn't want that to be my story anymore. I actually wanted to do something different. Depression was lame to me. Like it was old, and I wanted to move forward. So I decided that time in my life, I was going to become happy. Like I just decided I'm going to be happy, because it is a decision. Despite all the circumstances, it is a decision to be made. And so I decided I'm going to become happy. I don't even know what that looks like. I'm not sure the way for me to do that, but this is what's going to happen this year, because I'm not going down that path of darkness like I have before. So that began that side of my personal growth journey, which actually opened me up to personal development and self-help and really healing certain aspects of myself to become whole and not even become it, more like realize it, which is the big thing. It wasn't becoming anything. I was already this person. I had to realize it for myself. And so around that time, everything shifted. My business started to shift again and started to change. I met my now partner, Brian, at the same time, like literally within maybe like a month or two of realizing that I was a whole individual and that I didn't need anything or anyone to make me whole, but acknowledge the fact that this is who I am and that there was still work for me to do in order to grow, right? In order to grow more into who I am. Hey, Crystal. That was important for me to do the work in order to grow into the person that I really wanted to become, which was strong-minded, right? Strong-minded, business savvy, stepping into a level of power that I didn't know that I had. And that was my venture. That was my journey moving into that phase. So that brought me to like 2014, which was a huge awakening. 2014 was the year that I launched Live with Tiffany. So this is what you see now, what I've built over the last couple of years, 3 years, I guess, that I started really embarking on what I wanted. So stopping with the clients that wasn't fulfilling, which I talked about a little bit earlier on, which was doing like the social media marketing and all that stuff that wasn't really lighting me up anymore, at least not to the extent that I wanted it to. So I transitioned my business models, started teaching and coaching, and then I also got pregnant. And that was not planned. Obviously, that was not planned, because I would have planned it a little bit better. But I got pregnant that same year. And when I look back, I think it was all divine intervention, because it all came at such a pivotal time in my growth that I wasn't fully aware of. And if you've been with me for the last couple of years, you probably heard the story before. I might have shared at some other time or some call that we might have been on. But I went through a pretty difficult pregnancy. About 16 weeks into my pregnancy, I was diagnosed with several complications, and the doctor told me that it wasn't likely that I was going to have my daughter, like just not going to happen. And that by 24 weeks, I would lose my daughter. And because of the complications and the way they were set up, that I could lose my life in the process. And so this piece opened me up, and I have like goosebumps, and I'm going to try not to cry, because I always get really, really emotional talking about it. Obviously, I'm still healing from the experience. But it was a time that I realized how easy I talked a little bit about giving away your power yesterday if you joined me for a live stream over on Facebook. But I talked about giving away your power. And in this moment, I learned the importance of not giving away your power as you continue to expand and grow. Because it would have been easy for me, to say, you know what, maybe this doctor is correct. And maybe this is it. You know, maybe this is it for my unborn child, and maybe this is it for me. And just sit and once again go into that phase of comfort, which would have been depression. But because of my growth from that time that I just told you about, in the 2012 to 2014 period of understanding that I don't have to choose that route, that level of darkness, but I can choose something different, I chose it again. But you see the correlation? Without that level of growth in transitioning prior to, it prepared me for what was happening in my health life when it came to my pregnancy. So I was able to choose another alternative again, which is growing into another level of who you are. And this takes time. So I've already shared with you like this 4-year process of growth and discovery. But yet people want to fix everything so quickly, you know, like become a different person like in the next 90 days, and you can change dramatically in an instant, really, with a simple mindset shift. But sometimes it takes time, and it takes years, and it takes consciously understanding that you are a growing, journeying individual, and that's okay, and allowing for that time and space to come through you. Thanks, Ramira. And so going back with my daughter, I decided not to hand over my power. I gave myself a time period, literally a time period, to sulk, be angry, cry, shout, scream. Allowance is so important. I can't emphasize that enough in your space of growing and becoming clear about wherever you are in your life. Allowing the pain, allowing the despair, but not holding on to it, right? So allowing that, but not holding on to it. And so I decided to allow for a short time period, and then I wasn't going to hold on to it because I had work to do. I had a business to run, which was also falling down because of this time period of me being in and out of the hospital 3-4 times a week. And I couldn't work as much. And so, but I knew that I had to shift from panic and straight into purpose, right? And I have a talk called Shifting from Panic to Purpose. And it came out of this experience because I knew that I couldn't live in that realm. I had to do something different. I had to choose differently and act differently in order to change my situation. And I decided that I was going to do everything in my internal power and the powers that be, because trust me, that's where my spirituality, like I woke up to so many different possibilities during this period, which I'm now blessed. I'm blessed for the experience, which during the times that we're in grievance of something, or it feels like this is horrible or disastrous, or why am I being, why am I being put in this position of life, or why did it always feel like this? Because I know like my whole life, there was so much struggle. And I used to tell people that I don't just say like when life throws you lemons. I'm like, when life throws you rocks. Like that's the mentality I had growing up. Like when life throws you rocks, because I always felt life was throwing me literal rocks. Like, why does it have to hurt this bad? As I got older, more conscious and more aware of where those rocks hit me, I realized how much I grew in the process and how many lessons were learned. So with that, I began this whole different process throughout this because of growing into this new phase. My daughter, I did end up having my daughter, by the way, on time, basically right on time, thanks to probably everything that I did, because I called on every ancestor, lit a lot of candles, prayed and asked for good vibes and healing vibes and everything else that you can think of under the sun, and really held space for my daughter to like thrive in my body. But with that, I began to awaken in a whole different level over these last couple of years. So my daughter is now 2. So in the last 2 years, it became real. And that's where the shift is real actually came from. So now I want to kind of dig into transitioning, because I would say Thank you, Crystal. I would say that these last 2 years have been a different level of growth where I've started to really understand the complexities of who I am, what I want, what I deserve, and the complexities of who I was and how that still plays a role with who I am and where I am today and the growth that I want to embark upon, because it does. I've encountered more acceptance and forgiveness, and really just created a deeper awareness in myself and in my body and in the work and how I want to work here via social media, how I want to work with people just in general, which is why you'll see if you actually go through my videos. I'm like, please don't go through my old videos. But if you go through my videos, I have a very similar essence about me this whole time. I mean, for my very first video, I think I really knew what I wanted to do with YouTube in my career, but I didn't allow myself because I didn't think I was ready to be that person. I thought I had to do these other things to get to where I am today because I didn't deem myself enough. I didn't think that I had the knowledge, even though it's a lot of intuitive wisdom that I carry, to be the kind of person that I wanted to show up for. But at the same time, I understand that I have grown a lot. And through that growth, I have a whole different level of understanding than I did even 4 years ago when I started this channel, which allows me to work on way deeper levels than I would have ever imagined. And growing is something that I will always do. So I'm not like a guru by any means. I'm just taking what I've learned because I do the teachable moment things and like figuring out ways to make it accessible for others to also begin their process of growth and self-discovery and self-reflection and self-connection as it pertains to who they are and the life they want to live and the businesses and leadership positions they want to have in the world. Because to me, because my mind works like that, it's all the same. And I really do hope that as individuals who want to become more prevalent leaders and leaders in our not only in our industries but in our communities and in the world, that this is the kind of work that we have to do. Like, this is the kind of work that we have to do to really step into these roles for ourselves, both personally and professionally. And so now that I've gone through so many different transitions and will continue and so happy to do, I can now talk about these things in this perspective. And so when we're talking about transitioning, this is where the shifts comes from. So recently someone messaged me and was like, so what is the shift? What is shifting? And like, you talk about it all the time, but I also see other people talk about, you know, shifting and what does that mean? And I think we all have different, maybe slightly different perceptions of shifting, but I know for sure that people use shift and change kind of simultaneously, you know, or interchangeably. I'm shifting into something, I'm changing into something, right? So those are words that can be used, I guess, in both places. But for me, I can only really speak for me and my thoughts about shift, and maybe, because I know Crystal has a book called Shift. So it might be a little bit different for everyone and how they experience it. But for me, there's a deeper meaning into shifting, and shifting is this awakening of sorts. It's awakening of who you are and like finding that new level of truth. So whenever you're in transition, you're actually reaching like a new level of awakening and finding a new level of truth that you can apply to your life and apply to your journey. And so that change within, so the change that you are awakening, the changes that you may have to your habits, you may be changing your habits or changing your mindset or changing these different things internally so that you can have a different outward experience. So this is inward journey to have a different outward experience is what I call shifting. That's shifting. And to me, it looks like the spiral, which is why I use that spiral emoji all the time, because that is shifting. And you're always in a shift because we're always transitioning because we're humans, right? We're always transitioning because we're humans. And there's different phases of life that we'll always be experiencing and always will be going through. So with that, I started to hashtag the shift is real, because as I was going through my own kind of like peeling back the layers of who I am and really trying to understand my place in this big white world that we live in, and what my message, what I was feeling called to do, but wasn't so much resistance to based on societal you know, what society told me that I should be doing, or what I thought people wanted from me, or what, you know, based on this hard skills that I had, I should have just stuck in that lane and just did that kind of work. I knew that there was a bigger connection to all the work that I've done over the years, because before I was a social media manager and marketer and consulting and helping people build their online businesses and strategy, which I'm still pretty badass at. So I accept that. I was doing deeper, like, not, I won't even say that that work isn't deep. But I was doing work in college, working with nonprofits, and I was starting youth organizations and college organizations, working on diversity trainings and issues, and, you know, kind of a social justice warrior of sorts. And that work was missing for so long in what I was building and creating, that I also felt this lack of self. Not to mention that I stopped singing, you know, I stopped singing, and I was a princess at one point. That's another story. But all these different elements of who I am is important to me. And I was putting all those things to the side, like so many of us do, because we feel that we have to be something in order to achieve something. But when really we're just working now, right? Authenticity and authentic is kind of a buzzword, but that's what we're all trying to come back to, our true selves and our true desires, and work from that space. Because when you're able to work from that space and be in that space, not even work, like not even, I don't even want to just talk about like the business or the career, because that's only one part that dominates our conversations all the time, but it's one part of our lives, right? But also authentic enough to be in a loving, caring relationship with a partner, authentic enough to be and learning more about yourselves, your faults, your weaknesses, and your strengths to be a better parent. Like all of those also play a role in our big major roles in our life. We just spend a lot of time talking about money and where money plays a role. So our careers and our businesses and stuff like that really take precedent over any and everything else. And I feel like I went on a tangent, but I'll come back. And so when we're talking about transitioning and shifting, that's what shifting is this level of awakening and this level of knowledge and understanding, so that you can then use that to do better moving forward. Let me make sure that I hit on all that stuff. Yeah, so basically for me personally, since I'm giving you a lot of my background story today, I started to recognize that I was in resistance to just, even though I wanted so much more, like in 2015, not only was I not aligned in business anymore, but I was feeling like a bad mom. You know, I was feeling like a sucky mom. I wasn't dealing with that too well. I wasn't feeling like I was the best friend, daughter, lover, and I explained that a little bit in my morning habits video. And I was missing something, and I didn't know what it was. And so when I started working with my mentors at that time, we did a lot of deep diving into me, a lot of deep diving. And it's important. And I didn't go to them for that. So a lot of the time when people come to me to work with me, they think they're coming like for something specific, you know, like a specific tangible outcome that they can just like sink their teeth into right away. But really it's a process and it's a journey if you allow for it. And at first, when I met these set of mentors, I've known them for some years, but when I decided to start working with them in that capacity, I just wanted like some systems. You know, I thought I just need some systems, and I just need to figure this thing out that I've been working on and tweaking, and I just need to, you know, expand that, and like, how can we do that? And they cracked me wide open and was like, no, we actually need to deal with all this stuff. And now you can start dealing with this stuff. And one of the things that came out of that was really getting my mornings together. And that's what all of this stuff. So all of these years of me growing and transitioning, I hadn't developed a way to fine tune all that I was experiencing, like so that I would continue to move and grow into this person that I really wanted to become and hold that level of space for myself. So I did to some extent. I held on to some things here and there. I would do different little rituals, maybe read some new books, buy a new course or program. And I held space for myself in different ways, but nothing that was cohesive, that really made sense. And so when I started working with them, I knew from a business perspective and personal perspective that I needed to get my life together in order for me to start being able to become a better leader, because that was starting to lack, at least to me. maybe it didn't come off like that to all of you, but at least to me, I couldn't hold the kind of space that I wanted for my clients and the kind of space that I wanted to hold here on social media if I didn't feel like, not that I needed to have it all together, because that's not what my brand is about. It's about the journey, but I just didn't feel good. I mean, like, let's just be real about it. I just wasn't feeling the best. And if I'm not feeling the best, it's hard for me to hold space to help you be the best. Like, that's just the truth. So I started building my morning shift. So it came out of doing the morning shift, which I hadn't put 2 and 2 together, that maybe my morning live streams was me building something that I had no idea I was building. And I took that same concept of me jumping on Periscope every single morning, and that was the one thing that I did every single day, like clockwork. Didn't miss one, no matter if I was sick or whatever. Like, it became a practice for me. And then it dawned on me, I do that. The morning shift was really important to me and through my healing process, but I knew that it also was important to those that I showed up for every single day. And so then I decided, how can I take that same concept of this practice that I'm building for myself through kind of living and expanding out loud to doing something for me that benefits also just me, selfishly, that just benefits me and how I want to grow. And so I started to take that same concept and really started doing some deeper dives into who I was, what I wanted, what I needed, how I could expand this and really just go inward and allow that space for myself in the morning, because my mornings were chaotic. Like, my daughter was not sleeping good, and I would wake up all through the night. So I woke up really tired. I was trying to jump on social media. I was then trying to be with clients, trying to doing all this stuff. And I just felt so out of whack. Like, really, I felt so out of whack. And I knew that something had to change, or I was going to have a literal breakdown. I mean, I was already having breakdowns, but it was not going to end, right? And so I started building out this practice for myself. And that's where things really started to shift. So not only did I get the support that I needed from my mentors who helped me in other capacities, but at some point you have to stop looking outside of yourself for the growth that you want. It's a mix, right? It's important: courses, programs, reading, mentors, digital mentors, right? But at some point you have to then start applying some of that knowledge that you're retaining and do the work. You have to also do the work. You can't just live vicariously through the words that are coming out of my mouth right now. It's not going to help you actually move forward if you don't listen, absorb, embody, and move forward and actually start doing what is necessary. And the same applied to me. I had a lot of things that I was doing for myself to grow and expand my mind, expand my mission. I was working, with my clients, and they inspired me, and it was cool to see, what they were working on and what they were building. But I stopped doing some of that inner work that I did, a few years ago that got me to where I was. And I started focusing completely 100% on my business. Really, that's what happened. I was just so tunnel vision, which is important at certain times, but I forgot about myself in the process. So creating a morning practice allowed for me to fine tune myself and get back into who I am on a deeper and spiritual level, both personally and for my career. And so even if I didn't sleep well, I got up and started doing the things that I wanted to do. And so this, about a month ago or so, as I'm working to build out this clarity course, because that's going to be something that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you in the next couple of weeks or next month even. I was like, well, what's a step that people can start implementing now? Because becoming clear, deeply clear, and understanding that transition, which we talked about a little bit here, is a process and it is a journey. But one way to help with that journey is building a morning practice. One way to help you kind of just cut through the crap and start working on it right now is building a morning practice. So I decided that I wanted to build a course on it, like a little mini course, nothing too extensive, but really just actionable things for you to start building your own morning practice so that you can hold space for yourself to build something out. Because there are too many videos on here, right, on YouTube. You can Google morning routines, 5 easy breezy tips. And even I did a morning a healthy morning habits video that outlined the 5 pillars that I use that's like the framework, right? So we have mindset and motivation, meditation, movement and mastery are like the base foundation of what you can build. But then it's about going inward so that you actually have some structure to what you are doing in the morning, so that this can be a long-term thing. Like, I'm tired of the get fixed quick, things that we're always trying to do, but really decide that at some point in our lives and in our careers that we're going to take ourselves seriously and start building something that is sustainable for our growth and our vision, because we are at the root of how we expand. We are at the root of the bigger visions that we have for our lives and the legacies that we want to leave to our children and how we want to interact with others. And so I was like, I'm going to build a course. I'm just going to build a course and really help people in that process. Just build the structure of it and do the work that's necessary to at least start having this foundational piece that you can expand into. Because I wish I would have took my morning practice more seriously 5 years ago when I started the quest. I was doing some things here and there, but I just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. And that's pretty much as simple as it gets. You don't know what you don't know. And so I wasn't sure what that looked like. And so I started doing this over the last year and a half, and so much has changed for me. Like, to say that I was starting to feel really broken, and I've prided myself in feeling whole, like the majority of the time. And I spend the majority of the time being literally happy. There are not many things that get to me. And if they get to me, it's only for a temporary amount of time, because I don't hold space for all of that. Like, I allow, and then I need to figure out how to move on. And that's just like a motto of mine. And so when I started building out this practice for me, it opened my mind to who I really am, like who I really am to the core, and how my connection is with God, the universe, spirits, the guides, the whomever it is that you believe in, or this higher version, quite literally this higher version of yourself, doing meditation and like really understanding. It's been, I can't even really explain it as much as that it's a life-changing event if you like allow for it. Allowance is the key. If you allow for it and you expand into it, and also holding the space for yourself to grow professionally, skill-wise, to dream, to visualize, to give yourself a fighting chance to be a better human towards others, because more than ever do we need better humans. We just need better humans. We need humans who care. We need humans who are introspective enough to do something, not introspective enough to be destructive, right? But humans that care. Hey, Tiffany, you're the best. Hey, from France. Thank you so much. But we do need humans to just do better. Like, we need humans to do better. We can see it in our governments, that we need different types of leaders, right? We can see it in our bosses, in different corporations and business structures. We can see it in our friends and how they lead their lives. And so the best way that we can change the world is literally, you probably heard it before, the best way to change the world is changing yourself. But not even so much to change yourself as much as identify who you are and become so grounded in that level of truth that it all makes sense. That it starts to all make sense. Everything starts to make sense when you are grounded in that level of your truth. Business, professionally, with your kids, with your relationships and your partners, with yourself, all of it. Yes, humans need to be better. And I believe that we can. And so that's when I started. And this is where my whole shift came from. Like, this has been a whole part of my shifting process, is understanding that we can be better humans. And so that's where Live Purposefully, Lead Consciously came out of. And we do that through shifting. We do that through shifting into what's possible. We do that through shifting ourselves, holding space for our transition, which is what I do. So whether you're in business or just transition in your life, it's holding space for that time to grow and becoming clear so that you're more effective. And I have like goosebumps, which tells me I'm speaking truth, right? And so the morning shift is the new course. So it's a mini course that I would love for you all to join me on. It's going to be a course that's available all the time. So it's not like a one-time thing that I'm just going to be promoting here and there. But what I'm doing for the launch of this course over the next week or so is that I'm doing a 21-day pop-up community for those of you that join me in this course, like in the next week. So that way we can hold each other accountable and really work in the 21 days of holding space for the transformation, because that's what's needed. And sometimes we need that kick in the pants from someone like me who's a coach, but we also need our other fellow shifters to hold us accountable and be like, you got this, and you can be consistent, you got this, and we can make these changes, and we can dig a little bit deeper around all of these pillars and what that means, particularly for you. And to encourage even more of you, I want to already joined up before getting on this live. It pays to be on the list. So those of you who are on my email list, you already got the first email that talks about this course. But what I want to do for the first 22 people who join me in the course is do a private group coaching call so that I can laser coach you and help you more fine tune your mornings for you. This is about customization, because if you go on any of these videos and you try to like copy other people's mornings, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you in the way that you want it to. And so I want to help you customize something that's literally crafted to your vision, your dream, and how you want to grow. Because this has been probably one of the most instrumental ways that I've grown, gained clarity, gained more confidence in who I am and my ability over the last year. Like seriously, life-changing work. And this is just one piece, but one piece that's so important. So even if you join me in Core Clarity, in my Clarity course a month or so from now, I'm still going to be like, you should probably be in the morning shift, because it will help you get through some of the things that we talk about in that course so much easier. You'll start to process things a lot easier. And so the course is hella affordable in the sense that it's $44. $44. And I picked that number for a reason. If you're into angel numbers, you can go look it up and see what it means. But it's $44. And I'll probably don't know when I'll do like this live component to it again, but you'll be able to buy it. So even whether you come into it now or later, you'll be able to buy the course. I struggle a lot implementing morning routines. Then I would love to have you in the morning shift. But over the next 2 days, you can, I guess the first 22 people who join me in the morning shift will get a private group coaching call with me. So I know Famira is definitely one of the 22. If she just joined, I can't believe I'm late. Oh, no problem, Kendra. If she joined today, I know she's in the first 22. So Famira is going to be on that coaching call with me. But who wants to join us, right? So who wants to join in so that you have a private coaching call? But even if you don't make the first 22, I'm going to be doing a 21-day version of the course so that I'm there helping and answering questions and all of that goodness. And so it has a live component to it, which is a total, I'll just be totally honest, like it's a steal, right? It's a steal for $44. Like people just don't get to work with me in that capacity for $44. So I want this to be accessible to everybody, right? I just want it to be accessible to everybody and be able to help you start building this bridge. Good morning, watching from Nashville. Thanks for being here. To start building this bridge, because small shifts, and you've heard me probably say this before in my videos, but small shifts lead to big change. And if you can actually get into this groove of building out something in the morning, and really it expands past the morning, but if I can help you create something in the morning time that will start to shift not only your mindset and your perspective, but hold space for how you want to move into your life, it could be literally life-changing. I know it has been for me, so I hope that it will be for you. If you're not on my email list and you just go to livewithtiffany.com, there's a button there that says the morning shift course. So you can always check it out just by going to live. Famira, if you're here with me, can you type in livewithtiffany.com? It's a landing page right now because my website is under construction, but it has a place for you to sign up for the daily shift if you want to just receive, daily emails, inspiration, and insight from me. But there's also a button that leads you to the page to learn more about the morning shift course. So yeah, that's what's happening. But all of this clarity and growth and transition work led me to building this one particular thing that I think, if done, not even correctly, but if done and spent some time on, could be a catalyst for so much change. Like if you are a seeker, if you're constantly looking at motivational, content and inspiration, and you're trying to find a way to just start creating some level of change in your life, this could be it. Like this could be, it's a catalyst for growth, a catalyst for going inward. I want the course so badly. I want you to be in the course so badly. Definitely join us. I would like the first 22 of you will be on a private coaching call with me. So you don't even have to be a part of my group coaching programs or a one-on-one client. Like you'll get to actually coach with me. It won't let me post a link. Oh, darn. So it won't let Famir post the link, which means maybe they just don't like links. I don't know. But if you go to livewithtiffany.com, if you're on my email list, you would have gotten an email this morning about it. If you're not on my email list, but you sign up to be on my email list, you'll get more emails about it over the next week. But I'll definitely have it on my Facebook fan page, and if I am able to, once I get off this live, I'll have it in the description box below this video too. But yeah, so that's, that's what's happening. And so I told you that this summer was going to be me continuing to shift, right? Me continuing to evolve, because that's important, and really just taking you along for the journey. And as I shift and as I evolve into these different places, it's an error from YouTube. They hating. They're hating on my link. That's totally fine. As I evolve and shift into these new places, my goal is to shed light for you, right? To shed light on the areas that I feel like we just aren't hitting on sometimes. So many people say, just get clear. I just need clarity, but don't understand the process of that, right? And it's about asking the right questions, doing the work, allowing for time and space, and taking deliberate, intentional action for what you want. And knowing that some things it doesn't happen overnight. I just shared with you a 7-year journey, which is awesome. A 7-year journey, but a 5-year journey that I've been super intentional about my growth, but a 7-year journey to get me to this place. And I won't say that it'll take you 7 years, because I know the more people you hang around who are enlightened, woke, right? Who are enlightened, woke, awakening, doing these things, the faster your growth will be, because you don't know what you don't know. Seriously, you don't know what you don't know. And I couldn't have done this kind of work, even to create a $44 course, if I hadn't spent thousands of dollars working with my coaches. So I spent thousands of dollars working with my coaches to fine tune a process for you that will only cost you 44 bucks. You could totally, try to come up with something on your own, which I'm down for. But I really wanted to make this where you don't really have to think about it. If you can get myself or someone to help you, understand the process and hold space for you to build something for yourself, then why not? So that's why I'm doing it. And that's why I want to do, because I'm on a mission to get millions of people clarity in the next couple of years. And this year I'm like dedicated to like 1,000 people, particularly 1,000 people. I just came up with that arbitrary number, but I figure you have to start somewhere. And so if I can help one of you, really start getting more clarity and truth in your own life and becoming more purpose-driven in how you operate, then it continues that spiral effect of being a catalyst for being a better human. And I couldn't be more excited to be that person. Yes, because I'm not a morning person and I ain't really trying to be. Most people aren't morning people, right? I mean, there are some days that I totally just want to like stay in bed because it's so comfy. But when you have a dedicated practice, it just so much changes. Like so much changes, and you're dedicated to doing what you need to do. I'm not an advocate for not sleeping though. Like that's not the thing. I'm not an advocate for not sleeping, but about just being more conscious and more aware. Good afternoon. I love your videos. Thanks, Mario. Thanks for being here. We've been on for already like an hour, so I don't want to hold you all too much longer. But I wanted to come on here, for those who are new faces to me, who've never experienced live streaming with me. I wanted to do this kind of real, raw and live with Tiffany moment, because this has really been a part of my journey. I didn't dive into every nook and cranny of my experience, because that holds space for me creating more content, more videos, and having more opportunity for you to join me, you know, across platforms and in some of my courses. But I wanted you to see that process, because no matter where you are in what you're doing, know that there's room for growth, room for change, and room for uncovering the depths of who you are. And that should be so exciting. It really is. It used to scare the daylights out of me, but it's so exciting to know that there's still so much more to learn. I've only tapped on the tip of the iceberg of who I really am. And every day I get to explore that a little bit more. And that level of curiosity is also a mindset shift. That level of curiosity takes you into new places and new phases of your life, of your career, and of your business, versus feeling like a victim to circumstance. This is how life is. This is how life is going to be. This is how it always has been. But just because it is this way right now, or it always has been this way, doesn't mean there's not room for change. Doesn't mean that you don't have the power, the ability to create a different outcome for your life today. And to me, that is so powerful. Like, that level of understanding is so powerful. Just signed up, definitely needed this course, tried doing yoga in the morning and just ended up falling asleep. It happens. I've never done yoga, but a lot of my clients just so happen to be yogis. So I do understand the practice, but I think it's a powerful practice if you can get into the groove of it. So I'm excited, Alchemy Dragon, for you to be in the morning shift course. For those of you that just may be signing on, I shared a lot of my journey with you this morning, so I really hope that you go back and watch the replay. But I have a morning course, called the Morning Shift, and it's really to hold space for your growth in the morning time, to build that foundation, not only for your day, but for your life. So if you're looking to craft a unique practice and vision for how you want to grow, how you want to live, how you want to thrive, that's what we do in the morning shift. $44. That's it. And this round of the morning shift, I'm like going all out, because I'm so pumped and I'm so excited about it, that you get 2 extra bonuses. The one stable bonus, so if you sign up over the next week, that you have is being in a 21-day pop-up community, where we will do more live streams and we'll dig into some things that you can do to really amplify and hold space for your growth in the 21-day period. But the first bonus, the VIP bonus, is only up for the next 48 hours. So by July 4th, or if 22 people sign up, it's going to be gone. So one or the other. So if 22 people sign up today, then that bonus is gone. But it's a private group coaching call with me. So if you know or have known me for some time, I don't just do private group coaching calls unless you're in one of my coaching programs, right? So you either have to be in a actual coaching program with me, or a private client to some capacity. So I'm throwing out the works here because I really want to help you craft this thing. I know that it could change your life, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the transformation. And this is one piece, one component to doing something special for you. This is for you. This is not for me. This is for you. And this right here could be the beginning to all the different little mini things, mini projects and businesses and ideas that you might have. So much power, so much juice will come from your morning practice. So the first 22 will have that private group coaching call with me. If you want to go to livewithtiffany.com, so it's Live with Tiffany, just like this channel, livewithtiffany.com. My website is under construction, but there's a couple of links for business inquiries, being on my email list, but one says the Morning Shift course. So if you go to livewithtiffany.com, there's a Morning Shift course, which will share with you everything I just shared with you on this live about the course itself, and you can sign up to be in it. So I'm assuming that over the next day, if you sign up, you'll definitely be a part of the private group call, which I can't wait for. Cannot wait. So I'm super stoked about this. As you all can tell, I don't want to hold you any more on your Sunday. I want you guys to go out and live life. It's been 75 minutes that we've been on here. So thank you so much for being here with me. I hope to see many of you. Several of you have already signed up. I'm getting the notifications on my phone and you expressed that you signed up here. So I'll see you inside the course. For those of you who also want to do it, I'll see you inside the course. And yeah, let's make mornings the best part of our day, really, because it can be. And let's just create a practice. Let's create a practice that is meaningful to your life, and that will help you change anything that you want. Literally anything. Business, health, relationship, self, whatever it is that you're looking to change, we can do it in the morning. So have a great day. I look forward to seeing everyone in the course. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Famira. I'm already messing up. I don't know why, because it's not like I don't know you or your name. Thanks, Famira. I appreciate you so much. Thanks, Mario. I'm struggling morning routine because I got so much thoughts that come through. I know all about the struggle, the struggle thoughts. And they still will happen, but it's about fine-tuning that energy. Right? The more you can fine tune that energy and put it where it needs to go versus overanalyzing and losing time, space, and energy on things that don't matter, that's where it starts to change for you. So I would love to have you show Liz, France, right? From France. I would love to have you in the course too. So I hope to see you all there. Let me see if I missed any questions. Let's see. I think I got it. Cool. So if you have any more questions, really enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much. Everyone have a great day. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You too. Have an awesome day, everybody. I'll see you inside the course and I'll see you in my next video that will be coming out in a couple of days. So just keep staying here with me on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'm sure I will see you soon. Have a great Sunday. Take care, everyone. Bye.